Welcome to She Rises Up podcast with Lara Calaf and Gemma Ramirez. Here we want to empower, uplift, and elevate you with conscious conversations aimed to unify business and consciousness.
Welcome to our podcast. And may we say that we're feeling a little bit nervous because this is our grand opening. Finally, we're doing something that's we've been talking about for such a long time. So welcome, beloved ones. Welcome to all of you to our very first podcast. This is Lara speaking, and my co-host is Gemma.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Lara.
Hello.
More than nervous, it's excitement.
It's excitement, is that right? Excitement to start this conversation. And we've been talking about it. It's been something that both of us wanted to do for a very long time. And the intention of this podcast is to share what we know, is to share the conversations that we have. And without further ado, we're going to go straight into it. Are you ready, Gemma?
I am so ready.
Let's do it. So let's share with you how we decide the theme of today's conversation. And we have decided to use a card deck.
Mm-hmm.
And the one that we're using today is called the Moon Deck, and we have pulled a couple of cards, and this is how we are going to be getting inspired to have our conversation. So the card that we got, which is a very, very interesting card because it's so pertinent and so potent at the same time, and pertinent to everything that we're living right now. And the card says, now is the time to integrate all that I have gathered. Now is the time to integrate all that I have gathered. So, Gemma, if I was to ask you a question, what's your interpretation of this card, especially when it comes to everything that's happening in the world today? How do you, what do you have to say about it?
Yeah. I think the card was so spot on. It talks to me about how ready we are to start doing this, to sharing with people our daily conversations, because what you're going to hear today are the normal conversations that me and Lara have been having for I don't know how many years. And we decided, hey, let's put it out there. And that's how we do it. Sometimes we pick a card and it triggers something in us. We get insights and we learn together and we grow together. We've been rising up together. That's why the title of our podcast, She Who Rises Up. And now we want you to do that as well. And the time is so right now to integrate everything that we have done, everything that we have learned, everything that we have felt, and all the insights that we had, and share it with other people. So that's exactly what me and Lara are doing. And it applies to many people. It talks to me about many other women and men as well who are ready to step up into the purpose and put it out into the world. Many of us have been waiting for years for actually what's happening right now in the world, for the new earth to be born anew, for the old world to crumble down, to bring conscious business into the area, to raise the feminine leadership into the world. And this is a time when we put it into action. So the card was kind of spot on. And one of the things that the card said is that integration is the same as learning. And we've been learning for such a long time, having wisdom and inspiration. And we might be so full that it's time to give it up. We want to share it with the world. And that's what we're doing, me and Lara, today. And that's what we're so excited about, because it's so in alignment with what's happening in the world. And that is probably how many people are feeling. So may this podcast and our energy feel of inspiration to people to start up what they want to start up for so long.
Yes, absolutely. And Gemma, the thought that was coming to my mind, again, linking the current world affairs and also with the card, the theme of our conversation, that it's integration. And what's coming to mind is trust. The word trust is coming to me, and the word intuition is coming to me. And I'll tell you why is that, because how much do we trust ourselves versus how much are we putting trust outside of ourselves, right? And what would happen if I was to trust myself as much as I trust everything outside of me? This is a thought that was coming to my mind. And I read, I was reading a book this morning, and the concept of intuition came into place, which is also very it's very, very important. It's accessible to both men and women, of course. And the definition of intuition, which is one of the best that I've heard so far, it's knowing without knowing how you know.
I love that.
Right?
Mhm.
Knowing without knowing how you know.
Mhm.
So why the concept of intuition and trust is coming together with the word integration, and again is going back to how much power am I it's leaking literally outside of me, because I'm not trusting in myself enough to say, hey, wait a minute, I've experienced a lot about my life. I've gone through a lot of deep, challenging, a lot of shitty situations in my life. Let me bring all that wisdom that even in this lifetime alone, and we're not even talking about other lifetimes, in this lifetime alone, uh, everything that I've experienced, it's time to put it in practice.
Yes.
It's time to
Mhm.
put that in practice,
Mhm.
right?
Yes, yes, absolutely. I love that because um, trust and intuition is what happens when you start integrating. You have to trust your processes. There's no one there to save you or to tell you what to do. You might have guides, coaches, teachers, whatever, but at the end, if it's your work to do the work that you do, and trust and intuition is what will help you to get there. I remember at the beginning of the podcast today, we were me and Lara were saying, oh, shall we tell the people that we use cards to decide the theme of the day? And we decided, yes, let's do it, because we are going to show them a subliminal message that it's your intuition that will take you there. So we pick a card, we talk for a couple of minutes of, oh yeah, yeah, great, this is what happened, this is what happened, yeah, and that's it. And we start the podcast, and we totally trust in the process. We totally trust in the divine that is going to flow through us to say what is need to be said. We trust in our intuition. And this is, people, what business are going to be in the future, not only normal life. It's not esoteric. It's magic, but it's not magic, if you know what I mean. It's life in the new world that is being birthed anew as we speak. So the future of business will be based pretty much in intuition, and trust. And having said that, I know, and Lara have a great experience on teaching leadership and working in the corporate world, that intuition has always been there, right? It's not new, but it's time to trust it, I
Yes, yes,
feel.
yes, absolutely. And it's interesting because we talk about the senses, right? The five senses. These are the senses that we've been taught that we need to trust, right? These are the rational senses that we all know about. And then of course we are entering into a realm that it's a non-rational, right? And of course that could scare some people up. And it was I'm gonna we could leave a link in the podcast about a study that has been done on trust, in fact, where a research has been done on a number of executives in the corporate world, and trust was intuition was one of their superpowers.
Hmm.
This is my own
Yeah,
word now,
yeah.
transcribing this what the research as such, but that was one of the superpowers that these executives have. And one of the follow-up questions that they had when they were asked as how comfortable, or something like that, how comfortable would they be in sharing or acknowledging that intuition was a basis to make their decisions, something like more than 50%, if I'm not wrong. Again, we'll leave the link. Said that they were not comfortable in sharing that, right? They were not comfortable in acknowledging their intuition played a vital role in making their own decisions, right?
Mm.
So yeah. Yeah,
Interesting, interesting,
interesting, right? Very,
very
very
interesting.
interesting. I think intuition is a superpower for sure, for sure. And why is because how we have experienced that, right? How many of us have we had that voice, and we didn't listen to it to only later say, but I knew it.
Hmm.
Now when it comes to today's podcast about integration, this is integrating things that I have learned in the past, right? So if I already know that intuition has served me well in the past, if I already know that intuition, I should have listened to it, let me integrate consciously that into my life rather than making it a spontaneous thing that only when it arises, I'm going to access that wisdom. No, no, no. Let's make that part of our daily wisdom, right?
Yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely. And it talks to me as well about different types of energy. Within ourselves, we have what we call feminine qualities and masculine qualities. We probably identify ourselves being in the feminine when we're talking about love, about compassion, about flowing. And the masculine is more directive energy, creating structures, and they're both needed. And it is time right now to integrate those two within ourselves. It's not about separation anymore. It's not about gender. We're not talking about gender here of male and female. Are different types of energy that we can use when they are needed in the right way. Because at the moment, the world have been dominated by the let's call it negative traits of the masculine energy, and the feminine energy has been suppressed. This has changed already, and it's going to change over the coming years. And it's time to integrate within ourselves those qualities that we have that are nurturing for ourselves and for others. The trust is one of them, and the intuition, and the masculine ones. And many leaders, and I don't know why, but I suppose that about 50% of people who were not comfortable sharing that they have the intuition within them were probably males, because men have been told to not express their emotions, to not tell what they feel. Women do that naturally. So that's why they say women are better leaders. So if women are better leaders because of that, hey, men, trust your guts, trust your intuition and say it. Go into your feminine side and pick up on your intuition and your trust. This is what's happening now. And for women on the other side, we need to learn from men that sometimes direction is needed, the creative structures are needed, and we need to go onto that energy as well. So it's integrating what we know from each other, learn from the different aspects of reality. In this case, we're talking about gender, and integrate that within you. Whether you are man or woman, we can be whole within ourselves and lead and have businesses that are based on intuition and compassion and trust, with great structures that are going to bring money into the world. So both things are needed. Nothing is wrong and nothing is perfect. Integration is the key right now.
Integration, absolutely. So the concept that was coming to mind is it's time to normalize, right? It's time to integrate and normalize trusting our gut, right? And
Yeah.
trusting our trust.
Trusting our
Right?
trust.
And
Love it.
trusting our trust
Yes.
and trusting our intuition. So it's
You,
time to
you,
normalize that, right?
exactly, because it's there inside. So just accept it and normalize it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and also the concept that was coming to mind as well, and this is based on because two cards literally were picked intuitively to have the discussion today, and the second card was all about, again, it's very interesting because very linked about the card of integration, and it was talking about all I need is within me. All I need is within me. Right? Again, going back to trust, is it's where's then the work in. So if I was to ask you, Gemma, if to our listeners, how can they start, right? So, we're talking here, we're sharing our conversations, and we're sharing our thoughts in a very intuitive and very divinely guided methodology, if you want to, rationalize how we're doing this. By the way, there are no notes or anything. This is basically us right now being very raw and very ourselves, having a conversation with all of you in the same way that we have in our private conversations, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So in a practical way, how then can our listeners start tapping into, how can they start integrating? How can they start integrating?
Yeah.
So what things might need to be shifted? What might I need to let go? What might I need to embrace in order for me to start integrating?
Yeah, yeah. I think you had the key when you mentioned intuition and trust, because now we're going within to integrate, is integrate. So you have to trust the process. You probably feel full up with knowledge, with life, with wisdom. So it's time to stop and integrate what you've learned, integrate what you've got, what you've received. And once the cup start getting a bit empty, maybe it's time to start filling up again. So use your intuition and to begin trust. I know it's a difficult thing to do because we've been told, oh, people like this and the world is such a bad place. But what if that was not true? What if people actually are loving by nature? What if the human being is compassionate by nature? What if we're actually great inside, but we have been told that we are not and we believe something that is not true? Why don't you trust what you know deep inside your heart that you are a good person? It's just that you had bad experiences or bad exposure to circumstances in life and you've learned the wrong way. All that can be shifted just by deciding to do that. So when you realize that the human being is actually good by nature, is divinely inside, is divine inside, then you know you can trust it. You just trust it. The way I began to trust, because I didn't used to, was just to start trusting. I'm gonna trust this person. I have no option. The life circumstances put me in a place where I had no option as to trust certain things. So everything was out of my control. The only thing I could do was to trust. And when I trusted that person, what I found out over the years that this person has been working for me or serving me in certain way is that she went far ahead, far beyond any expectation I had for her or for the outcome of the thing that she could do for me. And that was based on my trust. I all I had to do was say to her verbally, I totally trust you. You do what you need to do. And she went and did much more than I was expecting of her. Her heart was fully into the things that she was doing to me for me. And that was a confirmation for me that trust follows trust. So in the first thing you need to do to trust people and to be trusted is to start leading and trust. Just do it. Just trust. Trust the person. Trust your insight. Trust your process. Trust God, whatever you call it. You might call it God, universe, love. However you see creation, whatever you create, that thing that you create in, trust it, because the mind gets in the way and start wondering, oh yeah, but what if God doesn't give me what I've asked? Then you put in blocks inside yourself. Don't be so harsh on you. Trust and let go. Trust and let go. So the beginning of trusting is trust. Just do it. Just do it.
Absolutely. And from my perspective, I would like to say it's to trust also, it means that we need to have the courage
Yeah.
to trust, right? And especially when we might be in surroundings or we might be in environments in which they might not be ready or they might not have learned to trust themselves yet or might be on a different road of evolution that you are yourself. So don't be discouraged by the fact, or continue with the lane. Remember that all that you need is within yourself. And yes, it takes courage, because that might mean that we may have to go um, uh, on the outside, or temporarily, or short term potentially, or maybe longer term. We don't know. Of course, there's so many possibilities here against the current. So, but again, we know best. And again, all that I need, it's within me.
Yes.
All that I need is within me.
Yes.
Yes.
That
Yes.
takes me back to when I did my fire walking instructor course, that we were walking onto the fire, and that's what we were told to say. Everything I need is inside of me, and by repeating that inside of you, you were able to walk on hot, what you call it, well, on fire, almost on
Yeah.
fire. And so everything you need is inside of you, and everything you've learned was just a reminder of things that were inside of you. So that's a great um, mantra, I would say, to end up our conversation today. Yeah,
Yes, all I need is within me. And it's time to integrate everything that you have learned. Absolutely.
yeah,
So I hope you have you've got something from today's conversation, and we truly look forward to seeing you in our next episodes. Until then, sending you all our love.
Yes, all our love. And tell us in the comments how you feel and what would you like us to talk about next or in future podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you.